this is Whiskey Jenkins, and today you're going to come on a short adventure with us. We're going to stop by Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. As you notice on the left-hand side, there's a brand new campground they have recently built. They have also built a brand new restaurant down here that you can visit on the off-season when the prison is not open. You can enjoy their food as well as their moonshines. I'm not too sure on the hours. You'll have to look that up online. If you have never been here before, definitely put this on your bucket list, especially if you're a motorcycle enthusiast. We're also going to be riding the Devil's Triangle, and then we're also going to be crossing over Norris State Park. So if you're someone that lives in the East Tennessee area, you know, Clinton, Oak Ridge, wherever, this is a great short ride. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. It's very enjoyable. The only thing you guys need to be careful with is sometimes the road has some gravel in it. It's washed out. There's a couple of spots in the road that have completely gone. So just make sure you pay attention to road closures. We've had a lot of rain recently in East Tennessee, and that's what's caused all these conditions. Once you pass through the gate, on the right-hand side of the building we're about to pass over here is your main building. Now, this thing has the restaurant in it. The restaurant's fantastic. Everything they have is good. You can even get a bologna sandwich like they did in jail if you want to. It also has the whole gift shop down there. You can also buy your tickets to go up to the prison. And then there's also part of the distillery in there, and there's a moonshine tasting bar towards the back and the right that you can go to, and it's basically $5 for 5 shots, so you get to taste everything they have. Now, if you don't know the history on Brushy Mountain, hit up YouTube, watch some of the videos, do some research. There's some pretty wild stuff that happened there. They didn't close down until 2009. They housed people like James Earl Ray and a bunch of other just crazy criminals. There's all kinds of escape stories. There's ghost stories about the coal mines. They used to take the prisoners and make them do, back-breaking coal work in the mines, and a lot of them died in there where the mines had collapsed. There's stories about guards just beating people to death and then burying them back in the courtyard. Now, another cool thing is they now have a concert venue in the back of the prison, and it brings some like large, big artists. We got people like Jamie Johnson coming, Clint Black coming. It's just a cool experience to be like, yo, I went to this prison and I saw a concert. But it's really cool. They got a big stage and stuff back there too. There's also a lot of cool things that happen, like the Jeep invasions and a bunch of other large events. So yeah, come check the place out. And like I said before, the place is right at the mouth of the Devil's Triangle. So I'm gonna shut up now. Now you guys enjoy the ride. Next up, we're going to hit up Rocky Top, Tennessee, and ride up Norris Freeway. Check out the dam and the overlook. It's a good little ride as well.